青へ強がって飛び乗って風に流って青空軌道を越えろ
Hey everybody, welcome back to Talking Mons, our Digimon Adventure 2020 recap podcast. I almost said try. It's like we already talked about all those movies. So my name is JD and I'm joined by Jeanette and Gary.
Hello.
Hi.
And we are here to talk about episode 7. That boy is Joe Kido. Which is a weird name for the episode, but whatever.
I would call this episode That Boy Joe.
That boy Joe.
Yeah,
That boy.
that was definitely like I don't get how that had anything to do with what the actual episode. Well, I mean, it was about Joe, but I don't get what the title.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, he is a boy and his name is Joe, so I mean, it's very literal, I guess, but
Should be like study time for Joe or something. That would have been a better title.
God. So in this week's episode, Joe finally returns. After last we saw him, he was I guess some kind of counselor at the summer camp that they briefly went to. Again, kind of like Mimi, we have no idea how he got here. He just is. No explanation needed, I guess. But this episode kind of reminded me how much of a wet blanket Joe is.
But I love him for being a wet blanket.
No, I mean, I love him. Like, God bless him. Like, I understand where he's coming from, but like, damn, he's all like, I'm in an alternate dimension and I have no idea what's going on here. Better study for exams.
Well, he's got a point. Like, all that time that he spends in the digital world is time other people have that are studying. But on the other hand, which he doesn't realize yet, because time passes differently in the digital world compared to the real world, he can leg up on the competition.
Yeah, my wife, who I think this is her favorite episode because she is like in love with Gomamon. But she's all like, but he has so much time now. And it's like, well, I don't think he's aware of the time dilation yet, but maybe that'll be a relief to him later on.
I hope so.
I know Joe always been a wet blanket, but has that thing, that outburst where he was like screaming about his like family legacy and hitting his head, was he always this like...
I don't think he was that neurotic about it. I remember him coming from a family of doctors was brought up a couple times in the old show, and I remember in the second season he was like pretty much studying to go off to basically become a doctor and stuff. Like he was all getting ready for that kind of stuff. But yeah, like it really shows in this one like how like neurotic Joe is, and I mean this in like the most nicest way I can put it, but like when my wife and I were watching this, we both were pretty much like, Joe is just like so Japanese in the way that like how under pressure he is to like do well in school and like continue in the family legacy and kind of stuff. It just like he's so Japanese.
So different from Tai.
Yeah. In the original, like he was studious. He was really like academic focused, but he was never like this stressed out about it. Like, how long has it been since it aired?
It's been a while since I've watched the original first season. I remember Joe was more of I'm the oldest, so I have to be the responsible one. Not so much like, oh, I'm in this weird other world, I'm going to be missing out on studying. I know that became more of a thing later on. Because I remember in our War Game movie, I remember his entire every time they flashed to him, he was like cramming. He was like in the middle of a test and stuff and freaking out about it.
I remember that.
Yeah, and then obviously in Try, they really made that like Joe was actually kind of a dick in Try because he was like, they're like, oh, we got to save the world because like shit's going down. And Joe's like, nah, I ain't got time for this.
He was a dick in this too. Like I love Joe, but he was. Gomamon
Yeah,
doesn't
I mean,
deserve him.
he came
Like-
around. He came around eventually in this episode, and I kind of like how he came around. But like, yeah, I always feel I've always felt bad for Gomamon because he always got. I feel like he got shafted in the partner department.
Hmm. But he loves being Joe's partner. Like somehow, I don't know
Yeah.
why.
Yeah,
Gary, go ahead.
Yeah, my like observation of it. I'm just wondering, since we're not in Japan at all. I mean, us as the reviewers, it's like has like societal pressure on kids like changed that much since originally when like the first Digimon was airing till now, like, or is it just always been the same? But now the writer actually choose to like represent that in Joe's outburst and behavior. Like that's
Yeah, I'm
that's
not
my
really.
like curiosity about it.
Yeah, I'm not really sure. I mean, I only have my dumb American perspective on things.
Well, Joe is like the stressed out AP kid that kids in high school.
Yeah, exactly. So I get it. Like I like obviously I want Joe to like get his panties out of a bunch and go on the adventure, but like I understand where he's coming from, like because he probably has all this like family and societal pressure to like he has to do well in school and stuff, and nothing is going to distract him from that.
Mhm. Well,
but
he even
sorry, go ahead.
says in the episode that he's going to contribute to society when he's an adult, but until then, they need to let him study so he can prepare to become an adult. Like he's not doing this adventure stuff now; he's going to do it when he's an adult.
Right? Yeah. But you know he does come around. It takes him a while. But it basically just takes like Gomamon taking a beating. He's like, okay, you know, you've been there for me ever since I got here, and it's kind of like how they did Mimi's like introduction of how she met Palmon, but it kind of goes a little more in depth because it kind of shows like, you know, Joe got there and like Gomamon was like with them and like helping him out and you know, making sure he like has a leaf blanket or something. And then Joe kind of returns the kindness and stuff. So like you kind of see the relationship build a little bit, and you can kind of understand why Gomamon is like, you know, sticking with him. Even though it's like they know that they're getting these kids as a partner. Like way before they even get there anyway, but which is always it's always been weird to me, that whole like we know you're coming someday, we already know your name. I always felt that was kind of weird, even in the old show. Like, we've been waiting for you, and I'm like, how?
Well, they're programs. It's prepackaged.
I guess.
The
Like,
Blizzard installed it.
I can accept the fact that they're like, oh, we've been waiting for our partner to show up. It's a little more weird that they already know their names. I think that's what bothers me a little bit.
Well, the time dilation thing is that it could have been like really recent in the real world time frame that
Maybe.
the Digimon got the information.
Yeah, maybe. I do like in this episode how so in the last episode the group was, or it was like 2 episodes ago. But the group was told that they got to go across the ocean to this new continent to find the holy Digimon. I like that Tai and Sora take off and Mimi just kind of pieces out on the beach.
Yeah, I actually now that we almost have the whole gang, I actually am really enjoying the characters. I mean, I'm between the characters much better.
Yeah. Now that everyone's kind of meeting up and you're seeing everybody play off each other a little bit more, I'm really liking their interactions. It was just funny because like Tai and Sora are flying around on Bergermon, and like my wife and I were looking around like, where the hell's Mimi? And they flash over. She's just like sitting on a beach chair.
Cruising around.
I gotta be
Where'd
honest.
she get the teacup?
Yeah. Palmon.
Palmon made it, I guess.
Yeah. I gotta be honest, if I was in the digital world, that would be me on the beach, just under a leaf umbrella.
But I mean, it's also kind of like, I think I've stated this before on other episodes. It's my weird nitpick is that all these kids are way too okay with being in this other world. Like Tai wasn't phased by it. Sora wasn't phased by it. Mimi took to it like a champ and like became a queen. And Joe just built a shelter and a desk. It just like
mean,
I'm
I
gonna
thought
go about my daily
Gomamon
life
built the
anyway.
shelter.
I mean, there's a lot of isekai out there now. Every Japanese child has to think their destiny is to be sent to another world at some point.
Okay,
I think Joe was just in denial.
he probably was. Side note, I just like literally yesterday learned what isekai was. Because I just like was suggested this video of like, here's like the summer anime or whatever. And he kept saying the word isekai. And then Jeanette, I think you posted something today with the word
Yes.
isekai on it. And I'm like, so last night I was like, the fuck is he keep saying? And so I looked up isekai and I was like, oh shit. Like half the anime I watch is isekai stuff.
Welcome to Weebdom.
Yeah. So I'm learning all kinds of weeb words now. That I probably should have known when I was like a teenager, but you know, I'm nearing 30 and I'm learning these things.
Well, to be fair, isekai wasn't a genre when we were teenagers. It's a relatively like in the last 5-6 years thing.
Well, isekai has always been there, but it was never separated into its
Yeah,
own
because
thing. Like Digimon isn't isekai.
Yeah, it was just never called isekai or however you say isekai, whatever.
It doesn't
Yeah.
have the tropes, like
Yeah,
getting
'cause-
run over by a delivery truck, which
Yeah,
happens in like
'cause,
almost every other isekai.
yeah, the video I was watching, he was saying like, yeah, Digimon and Inuyasha, and I think he said like Yu Yu Hakusho is kind of like that.
Yeah.
So it's like
Phone
yeah, like all of these shows that I've seen before, and I didn't realize they kind of like serve a similar thematic thing.
Well,
It was just interesting.
isekai, the literal translation is another role. That's it.
Yeah,
another role.
right, yeah. So it's just weird that like, oh, there's a word for it.
And
The
another
Lion
world,
and the Witch and the Wardrobe. That's an isekai.
yeah. And another world with my other podcast host.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, Gomamon continues to be one of the best partner characters. And this episode is like he's just so bright and fucking cheery all the time. And I it's kind of weird because he's not in America in the original dub. They really tried to make him like the comic relief character, and I feel like he's not so much in Japanese.
No.
He's definitely like this bright and cheery little kid.
Yeah, he's just happy to be alive.
Yeah, and he's like, I'm gonna go on this adventure because you know I'm gonna help my new friends and stuff because that's just what I'm supposed to do, and I'm gonna be happy about it.
Yeah, I think Tentamon is more supposed to be the comic relief character in at least this series.
I mean I think Tentamon I think Tentamon doesn't work unless he has Izzy. I think
Yeah, that's true.
because he has to play because they're both like he plays off Izzy being a huge nerd. But I feel like you could have Gomamon and not Joe. But I think having Gomamon and Joe together, they complement each other because Joe has a stick up his ass.
Yeah.
But Gomamon is so carefree and cheerful that it kind of like gets Joe out of his funk.
Well, the truth is, like, they have a nice dynamic with each other, but Joe is such a non-character that they cut him out of Digimon Try and nothing was lost.
Yeah, kinda. Yeah, he showed up for his movie where Gomamon got the warp Digivolve, but that's about his contribution to Try.
I think in the original series, at the very least, I can only infer because I haven't seen the sub, is that they're trying to go for one of the Japanese comedic style with Gogomon and Joe, where one plays the straight man and one is the silly guy.
Yeah, that's definitely like that's comedic structure 101 is just having the goofball and the straight man. And that's definitely, at least in America, that was definitely their dynamic. In this one, I mean, they still have a good dynamic. It's just a little different. It just depends on, you know, which interpretation you're going with. But, you know, it was nice to see Gomamon, and he gets his big evolution into Ikakumon, the giant fuzzy walrus that shoots missiles from his head.
I love that Digimon so much.
Did the missile like? I can't remember if it happens in the original or not, but did the horn split
Yeah,
into a missile?
yeah, it
Or
always
was
does
it
that.
just a horn?
No, yeah, it shoots the horn, and then the horn breaks open and reveals the homing missile.
I have no recollection of that part.
I'm pretty
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure it's been like that. I'd
Yeah,
have
it
to
was
watch-
like that. It was just not animated nearly as well in the original.
Yeah,
Like,
Oh,
maybe.
yeah, that's probably why.
Yeah, I don't know. It's been a minute. I like watching this show with my wife because, like I've said before, she like knows next to nothing about Digimon. So every time that like these giant monsters show up and they're fucking horrifying, I love watching her reaction to it. Like she hates Kabuterimon so fucking much.
Aww.
Like I love Kabuterimon, he's great. But
He's
she thinks he's disgusting.
He's
He's
essentially
a
the
giant
Digimon
bard.
version of Johnson from Dorohedro.
And then like when Gesomon showed up in this, she was just like, "What the fuck is that?" And it's like, and I have to keep reminding her, is like they're only cute when they're small. The bigger they get, the more horrifying they become.
Oh, wait till she gets to the ultimate forms.
Oh yeah, wait until Greymon turns into a cyborg and Garurumon gets pants.
I mean, Palamon gets really cute in ultimate form.
Yeah, she gets like the leaf fairy, and like it's kind of weird. Like the only one that I guess really the only one that gets like more horrifying in the main cast is Kabuterimon, because like you get Kabuterimon, and then Mega Kabuterimon is just a bigger, bulkier red version of that.
Yep.
And Greymon
basically-
becomes a cyborg, but
There's 3 different type of like ultimate form. It's really ugly monster, very armored up, or sexy.
yeah. Or you get Garudamon, who's just like a beefy androgynous hawk person.
Yeah, that's what I was just thinking of. Or there's the fact that like Golamon's like final form, he's just like a Viking god.
I like Zudomon. He's
I do
great.
too.
I love his
Zudomon is
fucking
awesome.
his Thor hammer. And Vikmon's got like those catapult maces on his back.
Hmm
He's great. I love him.
I kind of hope in this series they do the whole return to the real world with the Digimon storyline, and then people freaking out as they turn to their ultimate forms like downtown.
Yeah, that was like the
Oh,
best
it was
part.
so-
That was the best part of season 1 is when they go back and fight Myotismon and everyone's just like busting ass through Tokyo.
It would
Yes.
be so much fun to see like people with like phone recording everything now.
Yeah, man. Back in the day, they didn't have camera phones. Like they just had to like accept that it was like, yeah, that was a thing that happened, and you know, but but yeah. So I mean, I think this is probably one of my favorite episodes of the show so far. I think it's really getting into its groove now.
Yeah. It's hands down my favorite.
Yeah.
The pacing has gotten a lot better.
Yeah, for sure. It doesn't feel as rushed as the first couple of episodes. Like you said, Gary, the pacing is a lot better. I'm like really enjoying these a lot more now. And I definitely think it is because now that we have the characters together, because I think the strength of the original show was having this ensemble cast of characters and having each of them be able to play off each other. And I think that's really where a lot of the good writing and the comedy came from. And now that I think if the preview for the next episode, I think the original 6 are going to be like Matt is going to show up again. Izzy's finally going to get with everybody. So the main 6 are finally going to be all together. So it'll be interesting to see that. And it's weird because Matt hasn't showed up since like episode 2.
Yeah.
Lord knows where he's been. And then I'm still wondering, they've only shown TK maybe once in a flash, and Kari showed up for a hot second in this episode.
Now I'm wondering, with you guys saying that going back to the real world, would TK and Kara even go to like come to the digital world in the initially, or would they interact with
Yeah.
them in the real world, then go
Ye-
back?
Yeah, I'm not sure how they're gonna play this. Because right now they only have 4 more episodes scheduled. I don't know what they're doing past that. But yeah, I'm still curious about what they're gonna do with TK and Kari. Because they're in the intro. We've seen them. We just don't know how they're gonna get their partners.
I mean, they totally are the people with the holy Digimon.
Exactly. I mean, the whole feather thing. I mean, I
Sure.
figure that's like a kind of nod to them.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I'm just. I guess we're just gonna wait to see how that all pans out. Yeah. Well, is there anything else you guys want to mention?
Not really.
Yeah, I said everything.
Okay. Well, guys, that's our take on episode 7 of Digimon 2020. We'll be back again next week where the whole gang's gonna be together and they're gonna go do something. I don't know. It's called Children's Siege, so let's see what that's all about. But until we see you next week, everyone stay safe and we'll hope to see you again. All right, have a good one.
Bye.
Bye.